My last video I did was for my Aunt Jan. This is not about that. This is daily motivation, okay? This is Wednesday. This is hump day. We've got one more day, which is tomorrow. So this day is pretty much over with already, okay? So if you weren't up this morning getting everything ready for whatever you got to do this week, you got to work a little bit harder, a little bit faster now. So anyway, who am I? I am Jeffrey Jansen. What is motivation all about? Is about always staying forward, ahead of the curve, ahead of everybody else, making sure that even if we're having a bad day, even if people do us wrong, even if people lie, cheat, steal. Okay, I'm not going to lie. This week I had a couple hard things that I could not get my head around because I don't understand why people say the things they do, but that's okay. I forgive them for it. You know what? It took me a few minutes to forgive. Has it been a kind of a crazy week for me? Yes. Do I have bad weeks? Yes, I do. One of my mentors, Brian Crothers, always said, if your day is so bad to where you're going to hurt yourself, meaning you're going to you know, you're going to kick yourself in the butt. You're going to hurt your sales or hurt your performance. The best thing to do is not talk to anybody, okay? Or the best thing to do is find every single positive you can, pull it forward so you can keep moving forward. To me, I don't believe that you need to shut down when you're mad at people or when you're upset with people or when people lie, cheat, or steal. I believe you've got to do even more. Meaning you've got to get out there. You cannot just stop. You can't just give up. If you fall down, you have to get back up. It's almost like a track meet when you're racing, okay? Say you're racing either the 400 meter or let's say you're racing the mile, right? So what happens if you fall? You sit there for a few minutes, get your thoughts to get no, you get back up and you keep running. The reason why is because the time is ticking. The clock is ticking, and every day in our lives, we got to look at the time as in our life clock. Okay, we got to look at time as in the most precious thing we have that we can never get back no matter what we say, think, or do. Okay, so when that clock is ticking, it is up to us to continue to move forward. In other words, when we fall, we don't have that much time. Now, I know people say take a break, rest and relax. Great. But if we do that, you know what happens? We lose that time that we're resting on. Then all of a sudden, we're going to regret it later on because we could have done something, even if it was change the path we're on or do something different. The whole problem is we need to keep doing something. If you just sit there and do nothing at all, you're not going to make a difference in your life. You're not going to make a difference in anybody else's life. And whether it's sales, promotion, jobs, college, high school, grade school, junior high, whether it's getting a car, whether it is going out there to be a great volunteer, shaking of hand, or something else, it's not going to get done because you wasted that time kind of contemplate, what do I got to do now? Nothing. You should have 5 backup plans ready to go. I always tell everybody that I multitask. Actually, multitasking is very, very bad. I'm a really, really bad person for trying to even promote multitasking because it's really hard to get stuff done. But do I do it? Yes, I do. Is it something I should try to teach people how to do? No. The reason why is because you need to concentrate on one thing. Now, what I do tell people is have a backup plan. You don't have to multitask, but if you fall off track with one area you're going, then you can immediately move over to something else, like a train. You're just switching tracks back and forth, back and forth. Here's the main track. All of a sudden, you got to go that track. Now everything goes that way. So you got a third plane over here. Go that way. Because when we fall, we don't necessarily know where to go to get back up to. But the first thing that pops in our head, we need to go for that. In other words, right now we may be running the same race and we may be going the same direction as everybody else. But if you let time pass you by, you got to understand you're racing against time. Okay? The other runners on the track, you may be in first place right now, but they will pass you eventually. Now, the nice thing about it is you will be able to pass them. There's nothing in life where you cannot pass somebody, go up against somebody, and keep moving forward. Okay? So take, for instance, you want to get a promotion at work. Is everybody else going for the promotion? Yes, they are. Am I talking to everybody about the promotional stuff? Yes, I am. So who wants it the most? Who's willing to do what it takes to get that promotion? Who is willing to take to go out and get that sale? Who is willing to continue the course? Now, some people, they always have to be told what to do and how to do it because for some reason they've never grasped the concept of doing it yourself. They grasp the concept of tell me what to do and I'll get it done. I sometimes have fallen into that boat, and I still to this day fall into that boat. The only difference is I do things my own way, that I like to do things my own way. The reason why is because I have a better understanding. Now, what's funny is when I go out there and do things my way, how I want to do it, for some reason I can relate to people. Now, do I make other people mad? Yes, I do. You always will. There's nothing you can do about upsetting people. There's nothing you can say, think, or do. And if all of a sudden the worker bees see you coming, you're not the queen worker bee. Some of them are going to get mad at you. Others, if you're there to help, will grasp onto you because you're helping. But if you go in there thinking you're better than everybody else, this is the reason why I tell everybody whenever we do military stuff and whenever I go and talk to truckers and military, there's a certain way I like to do things. Now, do I make everybody happy in it? No, I don't. But do I get to areas that nobody else can usually get to? Yeah. Why? Because I understand chain of command. I understand how owners and business people think and work for the most part. But I always have to keep upping my game. I always have to keep thinking ahead. I always have to keep talking and meeting people and finding out the changes, because things change all the time. Change of commands, change of ownership, change of managership, change of leadership. There's always a change. One of my mentors, Rich, always said, look, you may have to wait somebody out because the person that you're trying to go to, you may not clash with them all the time. But guess what? There will be a new person there eventually. So you just wait them out. And that's exactly what you need to do. But here's just it. You also have to keep improving yourself, improving your relationships with others, improving the way you talk with people. If you go in there with a bad attitude and thinking you know everything, you're not going to get anywhere. If you go in there with confidence, but with respect, this is for all types of jobs and sales and business and everything else. If you go in there with respect, more than likely they'll hear you out, or they'll listen to you if you're trying to get a job with them, or they're going to consider you for a promotion or raise, consider you for a pay raise or something like that. But if it's kind of like I tell my truckers, when a police officer walks up to your vehicle, you're an ambassador for whatever company's on the side of that truck. Okay, so if that company is on the side of that truck and you smart off, you're not just making yourself look bad, you're making that company look bad, the maker model of that truck maker look bad. And the cop really don't care because he's had 11 other people before him tell him off. However, if you come, they come up to that vehicle, and the first thing you say, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, I understand, thank you very much, please and thank you, and you say stuff like this, the everyday things we've been learning since we were kids, it may actually shock them a little bit to where they may not start riding right away. They may want to see, okay, wait a minute, this guy's being nice. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, do you have your medical card? Do you have this? Do you have that? Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir. No, sir. They may not ask you to even get out of the truck. They may just be like, you know what, this person means well. They're nice. They're kind, positive. You know what, I'm going to give them a pass because the people before them were rude. If you go into work and say you work for Manpower or something, they got you a job at a factory and all your buddies over there smoking meth one night or smoking pot and doing drugs, but you come into work and you're sober and you're nice, kind of polite, they may not judge you for being what your friends do, and then they're not going to have that job the next day. Now, why do I say stuff like that? Because I live in the Midwest and these things happen every day. These are everyday occurrences, okay? Everyday occurrences with factory and truck drivers, you know. A factory person wants to know that you're going to be stable, you're going to show up to work, you're going to be on time, you're going to be a hard worker, you're going to do whatever it takes. You know what they also like? They like the fact that you are an ambassador for their company. They like the fact that you are an ambassador and you treat them with respect. You treat them with a caring, sharing attitude, and that will get you ahead in life, because some people, they go into work and they just don't care. They got these bad attitudes. I remember in the Marine Corps, I love him to death, but there was a guy that I served with in my platoon. Every single day was just the worst day of his life. I mean, seriously, I don't know where this guy is anymore today because he never lost this attitude. But everything was an attitude. Everything was, I don't care. Life sucks. It doesn't matter what you did with this person. And you know what? Nobody wanted to work with him. Nobody wanted to get around him. Nobody wanted to drink with him. Nobody wanted to go out with him, because he's the first one to get you in trouble. He's the first one to basically smart off when you shouldn't do it. And he's also the first one that had more depression than anybody. I mean, we did everything to try to help him. And I get that. He needed help. But the thing about it is, his help was way beyond what any of us could do. Now, where is he at today? We don't know. Nobody wants to get in touch with him because he just never cared. Now, we care about him, and he was always there for us. But he just literally had this thing like, I just don't care. And if you have that attitude going into anything, eventually people, you're right. If you don't care about them, and you don't care about what they do, and you don't care about their product or their business, you don't care about the product that you're offering or the sales that you are doing, if you don't care about that promotion, you're never going to get it. You're never going to get the sale. You're never going to get the job. You're never going to care. You know what I love about truck drivers? They actually love traveling because they like to work on their own. So they love to be in over the road or even day cabs. Okay, that's the reason why I like truck drivers so much. That's the reason why I think they're really great and I think they're heroes. Okay, because they actually care about what they're doing. They don't just do the job. Trust me, it's a very hard job. I know a lot of people think, oh, it just sits behind the wheel. No, you got to keep your CSA, your MVR. You got to keep all these things clean. But if you can't keep them clean, then you can't drive, because it'll go against your CSA, and it's hard as heck to get points off your CSA score. Now, what about military? Why do I love military so much? If you didn't have a love for country in some way, shape, or form, even when you're talking to recruiters, even if they lie to you or whatever you want to say, but you go in there and you're looking for more in life, okay? Your first thing is duty to country, duty to oneself and family, duty to God and country. There's a reason why we say it like that. because it means you're trying to do more. You want to help. You want to be there for other people. You want to do more. So what do? You sign the paperwork. Oh, I didn't get PFC, or I didn't get private first class. Private first class is PFC. You start out at private, you go to PFC. Oh, my recruiter lied to me. I didn't get sniper school. Do you know how many people tell me, oh, I'm going in as a sniper, I'm going in as a reconnaissance? No, you're not. You're going in as a Marine, or you're going in as a soldier. They don't start you out in special forces. They don't start you out anywhere until they know they can rely on you. They know you can depend on you. They want to know what your skill set is, okay? They can tell you in the recruiting office anything they want. Just like when you go into a job, they may have different areas that you can do. But what they're doing is they're going to feel you out first. They want to know what you can do first. They're not going to put you right in to the most delicate situations, the most crucial situations first. They're going to feel you out. So when you do something, when I'm telling you, offer respect, make sure you're a sponge and you can learn. And every time you go into college, the reason why you got to go into college is because that's where you're taught to be a sponge. That's where they're taught education. Believe it or not, most people I know that didn't go to college that are successful, the reason why they didn't have to go to college is they were already a sponge. They already learned. But a lot of these college kids, they get out of college thinking, I'm going to go do this now. And all of a sudden, they get shut out and shut down from everywhere they try to go work because they're not a sponge. They do not want to learn. So be a sponge on everywhere you go. Learn everything you do. I don't care if you're working in fast food, if you're working as a mechanic, a truck driver, a lawyer, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher. You always have to be willing to learn the next step, the next stage. There's always something more you can do. But if you shut yourself down to the world and say, I'm a professional, you're not going to get anybody coming to you. You know, people say they're a great mechanic, but they have no cars to work on because there's lots of great mechanics. There's lots of great people. It's more than just being the best at something, okay? It's more than, how many Olympic athletes, they now Michael Phelps is not one of them. Believe it or not, I actually like Michael Phelps because he's never showed, he liked to have fun, and that's just all good. That's just human nature. But he's never been cocky, never been like, I'm better than you. And like, oh, you can't, he always knows that somebody is on his heels. He always had this, the reason why he did good at what he did, and the reason why he's an Olympic athlete, if you watch him, you pay attention to him, you study him. And believe it or not, in business world, you want to study people like this because you're always wondering, how is he staying ahead? Because to him, somebody at any minute can pass him. Somebody at any minute can take what he just earned. Somebody at any minute can beat his score. So you actually have to keep going because somebody's always on your tail. Somebody's always chasing you. Somebody's always going in for that next job. Somebody's always there trying to get that promotion. So you have to keep yourself one better. You got to keep yourself one step ahead of everybody else. And the Marine Corps, somebody's always trying to become a PFC, private first class. Somebody's always trying to become a lance corporal. Somebody's always trying to become a corporal. Somebody's always trying to become a sergeant. Somebody's always become a staff NCO, and so on and so forth. So what do? You keep basically, you need to be a sponge. Believe it or not, it's not one of those to where like, I'm better than everybody, haha, I don't have to do anything else. It's, no, somebody's going to take what you have if you don't keep moving forward, okay? And anymore today, it's like the same with marriages and relationships. If you don't treat your husband or wife with respect or your kids with respect, they're always going to be your kids, your husband, even your ex-wives, but they may go somewhere else. If you don't sit there and treat them the way they deserve to be treated, treat them like they're the number one person in your life, okay? And that's the reason why people, and they're starting to understand this. When I say I was told to follow Jesus, I wasn't told to follow Christians. I wasn't told to follow Catholics. I was always asked to follow Jesus. And there's a reason why I say that goes into my everyday life. I wasn't told to follow everybody else. I was told to follow the right path. I was told to study hard, to learn hard. But you know what? When we say you got to study hard, go to college, you know what they're actually telling you? They're telling you to be a sponge. And even if you don't go to college, you still need to learn your profession that you love the most. You know why farmers were very, very successful? And a lot of farmers years ago only went up to the grade of 8th grade. Some of them didn't even make it that far. It's because they learned what cattle are like. They knew how important their cattle are. They were always learning. They were actually smarter than most college kids, even though they only have an 8th grade education. If you go off a person's education level and not off of their experience level, yeah, sure, college kids, yeah, great, you're a college kid. But now if you go off experience, knowledge, if you go off of everyday life, a farmer has every single college kid beat everywhere. Why? Because not only do they have to know how to fix a fence, they also have to know how to cook, clean. They have to know what crop. They know how to rotate crop. They have to know government, taxes, money. They have to know finance. They have to know reading. They have to be able to read what's in different things. They've got to know chemistry. Think about it. Do you just put any type of chemical on your farm? Okay, you got to know crop rotation. You got to know how to disc. You know how to till. You have to know how to go out there and spray. You got to know what's going on with your. You need to be a veterinarian. In other words, some of these farmers are doctors even though they don't have an experience, because you got to know what's wrong with your cattle, your horses. You need to know what's wrong with your pigs. You need to know what's wrong with your regular everyday animals. You need to know your family, if they got the flu, what they can do, what they cannot do. You need to know health and nutrition. Why? Because you're not going to go out there and feed your cattle a bunch of sugars and nasty stuff to where they don't get big and all they're doing is ugly. You got to know what to feed them so they get big and plump, so that when you take them to the market, you get the most out of the money. Think about it. A farmer has always been a sponge. His kids want to be just like dad because they are the smartest people that you can ever imagine. Now, why are truck drivers smart? Because you've got to know every road, highway. Yeah, sure, you got Google Maps and you got that and this, but guess what? You still need to be on the ball at all times, okay? Think about it. Trash collectors, they got to know what's going on out there everyday world, and they still have to get through the snow, the sleet, the rain, the hurricanes, you name it. They've got to get through it. These are why they're heroes. Teachers have to go into a classroom full of kids. They have different personalities every single day, yet they have to teach them, guide them, and everything else. So they have to be on their feet. They've got to be learning nonstop. A person that owns a business or a company can't let go, or another business company is going to pass them by and they're going to lose their business. Why do you think there's an 80% failure rate within the restaurant business? Okay, believe it or not, if you open up a restaurant, there's an 80 to 85% chance you're going to fail. In the military, did you know divorces are about 90-95%? Why? Because if you're not nurturing thing, if you're not around, if you're not there, people go a different direction. You have to know all this kind of stuff. So people that are in the military, it's funny how they always say, "Oh, you're just a bullet sponge." But did you know when you go into the military and you're on the front lines, and all those people that call you a bullet sponge, not only do you have to know all the nomenclatures of every weapon system and gear in your arsenal and in your ruck or wherever else you're looking at, but you also have to know foreign languages. Otherwise, how are you going to know what they're saying? You need to know how many beans, bullets, and buddies you got. That means you're counting your bullets, because you can't just go fire. It's not like the movies or a video game where you have an endless supply. So if you run out, you're dead. You got to know how much food you got at all times and how much food that your soldiers, sailors, marines, and everybody else has. Okay? You need to know all this kind of stuff. And it's funny how when you go to college, everybody's like, "Oh, I'm smarter than you." Really? Then go and do farm for a living. Let me show you. Show me how smart you are. Show me what it takes to raise a cow. Go, and I know kids in 4-H that are smarter than college kids. I know people in the Marine Corps and in the Army that are smarter than college kids. But I also know a lot of college kids that grew up on the farms, and they can actually put everybody to shame. So they knowing what it's like to be a sponge. I think one of the greatest role models, my cousin Kurt Schaefer, he's a farmer, but then he went and got all of his degrees and everything else. And I always remember his mom and dad bragging about it and everything else, but I always thought that was pretty neat, because not only did he know the farm, but he then went to school and became even smarter. My cousins on my Aunt Mike and Donna, they sent their kids to college, even though their kids know all kinds of stuff. These kids are geniuses, okay? And they do an outstanding job. But they also know that you can never stop learning. You can never stop pushing forward. And that's what your motivation today should be. Keep moving forward. Learn the role that you're in, but don't expect it to come overnight. Don't expect you can learn it like the Matrix, where they put something up to your head and you just know it. That's not how it works. You have to learn. You have to study. You have to read. Even my own dad, when they went to the factory, he had to learn different things. And he kept learning, and I got a lot of respect for him for that, because that's freaking awesome how people are always moving forward by learning more, learning the next job. If you don't do it, then somebody else will. And that's what you got to know in life. If you don't do it, somebody else will. So if you go out there and you learn and you read books, like to me, like I said, right now we're reading like Relentless, okay? And we're reading The Art of War, just a fun one that people always hear about it, but they've never read, even though they tell you that. And I dare you. I've got books like Chest Hero reading and The Rope, and you know how many books I read to people every day? And then I have people say, "Oh, you don't actually read, do you?" I don't read? No, not at all. Not me. I make sure to read chapters every day. Okay, I make sure to always improve myself. Do I still have to deal with people and stupidity and idiocy and silliness? Yes, but I use those in the actual definition of the word, because people are silly sometimes. Okay? So always know this. Go out there, do your best. Be better today than who you were yesterday. Be better tomorrow than who you are today. End your month on a good term. Don't just look at it as in like, "Oh, the year's done." Because we go through life and just waiting to die. Don't go through life waiting to die, because there is no way of knowing what happens then after. I know everybody will tell you, but nobody actually knows. Just because it's written down doesn't mean anybody actually knows. There is no factual basis on, other than somebody trying to tell us that they think they might. Or look, don't worry about the what ifs. Don't worry about maybes. Don't worry about, well, I don't know. Worry about what's right in front of you. Become better by reading more and doing more. Be a better person every day. You matter each and every day. You need to know you matter. Okay? Take care of yourself first and your family. Okay? Make sure you understand what it means to take care of your family. Okay? Don't worry about the lazy people in life. They'll get their upcomings. Okay? They'll get their just dues. Don't worry about the people that don't care about you, that are negative, that lie, cheat. Don't worry about the people that say one thing yet do another. Don't worry about those that talk bad about you, or they want to say nasty things because, oh, they don't want to admit that they said something. Don't worry about those people. Forgive them. And then forgive yourself for worrying about them. I forgive myself for even worrying about what they say and do sometimes. Yes, I know they lie. Yes, I know they cheat. And yes, I know they steal. But you want to know something? I forgive them. I'm not going to worry about them, and I'm going to move on. You mess with my family or something like that, I may have to learn a couple other things in order to make sure that I can protect my family, my town, my community, and those people I care about the most. But one of the things you need to know right now is I care about each and every one of you. Each and every one of you matters. Each and every one of you makes a difference. Learn that in life, because that is probably one of the most important things I can ever teach you or anybody else. You matter, and you're important. My name is Jeffrey Jansen. This has been about 20 minutes strong. I think the world of each and every one of you. When I turn this off today and I go back on, it'll be with reading the books. We can get these books finished up today. And I want to read the books, and then I've got to get to work. All right, I appreciate each and every one of you. Know this. Leave comments for me. I love hearing from each and every one of you. Don't think I don't. You guys each matter, and by me doing this, I make sure, that that it's okay that I do this. If I don't hear from anybody, there's a thing on Ron White. When you quit listening, I'll shut up. And until then, you matter. You're important. And know that every single day of your life. Like I said, today is February 27th, 2019. And someday, if something ever happens to me, make sure to tell my daughter I love her. And Gracie Ann, if you're watching this, which you better not be, you should be in school right now learning. Know this. I love you, Gracie Ann. I love my daughter with all my heart. And any kids that someday I may or may not have or whatever else, I love you too. You are very important. And each and every one of my friends out there, my family and everything else, you matter. You're important. Do your best today. And if I ever hurt you or said the wrong thing or gave you the wrong impression or the wrong idea, I apologize. But you are very important and you matter. And guess what? I matter to a lot of people too. And if I didn't feel I mattered to somebody, I would not be doing any of this. So, anyway, I'm Jeff, and I'll talk to everybody later. See you later, everybody. God bless. If I can figure out how to shut everything off now. All right, and that, and